Have you ever been with a woman who seemed perfect at first, the kind who looked at you like you were the only man in the room, but months later, she couldn't seem to keep her eyes, her attention, or her loyalty in one place? You felt her slipping before she even said anything. The texts got shorter, the kisses became routine. Her gaze wandered past you when you spoke, like she was already searching for the next thing. At first, you told yourself it was stress, that it was just a phase, but deep down, you knew she wasn't staying. The truth is, some women can't stay with one man not because of you, not because of something you failed to provide, but because they're chasing something that doesn't exist. They live in a constant state of emotional hunger. The man they have is never enough because the fantasy in their head is always bigger. And if you don't understand the psychology behind this, you will mistake their restlessness for your inadequacy. You will break yourself trying to feed a hunger that has nothing to do with you. It often starts small. She tests you. She flirts with other men in front of you, but frames it as just being friendly. She drops stories about how guys are always hitting on her and watches how you react. She's not telling you for your amusement, she's testing your insecurity. If you blow up, you lose frame and prove she can control your emotions. If you stay silent but seethe, she still wins because you're playing her game in your head. The only winning move, indifference, a calm smile, a change of subject, and zero energy given to her bait. She's trying to measure how tightly she can wind the string around your neck. You cut the string by refusing to play. Here's the field reality. A woman who can't stay with one man thrives on emotional spikes, drama, novelty, the thrill of being pursued. If you're always available, always predictable, she will subconsciously place you in the safe but boring box. That's when you start hearing things like, "I feel like something's missing," or "I just need space." This is not about needing space, it's about needing stimulation. The mistake most men make, they try to fix it by doing more. More dates, more gifts, more declarations of love. But all you're doing is feeding her sense of entitlement while killing her desire. You need to flip the frame. Instead of chasing her drifting attention, you pull it back by becoming the source of unpredictability. Not by playing juvenile mind games, but by reclaiming your own life. Stop answering instantly. Start disappearing into your own projects, your own training, your own world. When she feels your absence, she feels a shift in power. A woman who's used to being chased will pay attention when the man she thought she had on a leash walks away without a word. But you have to understand, not every woman who drifts can be pulled back. Some are locked into a permanent cycle, fall in love, get bored, sabotage, repeat. For these women, no man is ever the one for more than a season. They romanticize the high of the chase, but suffocate in the calm of commitment. If you meet one, the smartest move is to enjoy her for what she is. Never build your life around her, and know exactly when to walk. She will leave you the same way she left the man before you, and the man before him. Think of it like this: if you see a storm on the horizon, you don't build your house on the beach. Yet men do this all the time with women who show every sign of being restless, impulsive, and unable to commit. They hear her talk about crazy exes and think they'll be the exception. They won't. The behavior you see in the first 3 months is not the beginning of her changing. It's the cleanest version of who she is. And here's the hardest truth sometimes. Her inability to stay isn't just about her. It's about you accepting crumbs because you think you can't do better. It's about you being so afraid of losing her that you let her keep one foot out the door while the other foot is on your chest. Every time you excuse it, every time you tell yourself she'll come around, you teach her that she can have you without giving you her full self. The tactic is simple, but not easy. Never reward withdrawal. If she starts pulling back, you pull back further. If she withholds affection, you match her energy without a word. Not to punish, but to protect your dignity. Your presence should be earned. not assumed. Have you ever tried to hold on tighter to a woman who was already slipping away? Did it work, or did it push her out faster? What's the biggest mistake you've made when you felt her interest fading? Be honest in the comments. There's a moment every man remembers the first time he realized the woman he loved was already looking somewhere else. Maybe it was at a dinner table, when you caught her phone lighting up and her face softening at a name that wasn't yours. Maybe it was when you leaned in to kiss her and she gave you the quick, distracted kind of kiss that says, "I'm here physically, but my mind is somewhere else." You feel it in your gut before your brain catches up. The warmth between you starts to cool, and no matter how much you do, it never fully returns. The dangerous part isn't just her wandering attention, it's what it does to you. You start questioning yourself. Am I not attractive enough anymore? Did I do something wrong? You start changing things, shaving away pieces of yourself to fit the version you think she'll want again. That's when you enter the trap. You stop being the man she was drawn to in the first place. She was attracted to the man with his own life, his own edges, his own boundaries. Now she sees a man bending over backward to keep her, and that's the moment desire dies. Some women know exactly what they're doing when they pull away. Others don't think about it consciously, it's just how they operate. They thrive on being the emotional center of gravity. If they feel that energy slipping, if you're becoming comfortable instead of uncertain, they will test you by breaking the rhythm, cancelling plans last minute, being vague about where they're going, posting pictures calculated to make you wonder. They're not necessarily cheating yet, but they're feeding off your reaction. Every moment you spend chasing for reassurance is a moment they're in control. Here's the countermeasure: never reward uncertainty with investment. If she cancels last minute, you don't ask when she's free next. You fill your time with something else and let her see you were fine without her. If she posts something designed to provoke you, you don't engage, don't comment, don't give her the satisfaction of knowing it worked. The power isn't in making her jealous back, it's in making her realize she's not the center of your emotional weather. Let me give you a scenario I've seen countless times. A man notices his girlfriend pulling away. He responds by planning a special night to bring them back together. He books the restaurant, gets her flowers, writes her a long message telling her how much she means to him. On the night of, she thanks him politely, smiles, but her eyes are tired. The problem: he thought he could buy back attraction with gestures. When attraction in this stage isn't about effort, it's about polarity. He made himself predictable, and predictable is the death of tension. A better approach: pull back, match her distance, redirect your focus to things that give you energy outside of her: your body, your craft, your friends, your mission. When she sees that you're not trying to lure her back, she has two choices: drift further or step back toward you. And if she drifts further, good. You have your answer without wasting months in slow decay. You have to train yourself to notice the subtle tells early. The way she checks her phone when she's with you, but turns it face down when you walk into the room. The way she used to share details about her day, but now answers with, "It was fine." The shift from seeking your touch to tolerating it. These are not small changes, they are signals. And a man who values himself reads them like warning lights, not background noise. Here's something else no one wants to admit for some women. The inability to stay with one man is less about boredom and more about validation addiction. The relationship is just the base camp. The real thrill comes from knowing other men still want her. That's why you'll see her keep old, just friends contacts alive, flirt online while calling it harmless, or dress for attention when she's going out without you. If you confront it directly, she'll accuse you of being insecure. That's how the trap works. She frames her behavior as normal and your discomfort as the problem. This is why your strategy has to be rooted in strength, not permission seeking. You don't demand she change. You simply make it clear through your actions that you won't attach yourself to someone who treats your commitment as optional. You keep your dignity at the center of the frame. That's what allows you to walk away without begging, and that's the only posture that commands respect in the long run. Have you ever ignored early signs because you didn't want to believe what they meant? How much time did you waste trying to get back to how it used to be? Which of these red flags have you seen firsthand? Share it below. The hardest part is admitting that sometimes her drifting away isn't about a fight, a mistake, or a misunderstanding. It's about her nature. You can give her stability, loyalty, emotional presence, even passion, and it still won't be enough. Not because you lack something, but because she craves the feeling of novelty more than the reality of depth. And if you've never seen this type before, you'll mistake her constant dissatisfaction as a sign you need to keep performing, keep proving yourself, keep winning her back. But you can't win a race when the finish line keeps moving. You'll notice the cycle if you look closely at the start. She's all in. She mirrors your interests, laughs at your jokes, tells you she's never felt this way before. You believe it because, in that moment, she believes it too. But then comes the slow fade. The calls get shorter, the effort slips. She starts seeking stimulation from anywhere else, not necessarily in the form of cheating, but in emotional breadcrumbs from men at work, on social media, in her past. For her, the attention is oxygen without constant supply. She feels suffocated, even if you're standing right there. The trap for men is thinking you can outwork that need, that if you just show her how committed you are, she'll settle into the relationship and stop searching. But what you're really doing is locking yourself into a proving loop, a never-ending audition for a role you already earned. And every time you overextend, you lose leverage. The relationship shifts from two equals to one man doing the work of two people while she stands back and evaluates. Here's the tactical shift you have to make. Stop trying to anchor her with more of the same. A woman like this doesn't need more attention, she needs contrast. That means not always being available. That means being willing to leave messages unanswered when you're busy, instead of dropping everything to respond. That means letting her wonder what you're doing instead of filling her in on every detail of your day. You don't do this to play games. You do it because your life should be full enough that you're not orbiting hers. I knew a man, let's call him David, who fell for a woman like this. She was stunning, magnetic, the kind of woman who turned heads in every room. For the first few months, she was his biggest fan. Then she started getting distant. When he asked what was wrong, she said she just needed space. Instead of pulling back, he doubled down: more dates, more compliments, more surprises. She thanked him and drifted further. By the time he realized she'd already emotionally checked out, she was texting someone else. His mistake wasn't loving her, it was trying to keep her with volume instead of value. And here's the key: value, in this context, isn't about status or money. It's about being a man who can walk away. When a woman knows you won't chain yourself to her uncertainty, her respect for you stays intact. Even if she still leaves, she leaves knowing she couldn't manipulate you into chasing. That's the difference between a man who loses her and feels crushed, and a man who loses her and feels clean. There's also a darker side to this pattern. Some women use the cycle intentionally to keep multiple men emotionally hooked. They never give any one man enough to secure her fully, but they give just enough to keep him hoping. She'll rotate her attention like a carousel, a little here, a little there, so none of them drift too far. If you don't see this for what it is, you'll waste years being her emotional backup plan. Your defense against that is simple in principle but brutal in execution. You set a clear internal line. If she withdraws for more than a short spell without reason, you don't chase. If she plays hot and cold repeatedly, you don't adjust, you exit. Not with drama, not with ultimatums, just a quiet, decisive removal of your presence. The silence that follows will either wake her up or confirm you were right to leave. Either way, you win because you didn't bargain with your worth. And remember, attraction is not maintained by constant reassurance. It's maintained by polarity, the tension between closeness and independence. If she can't handle that tension without looking for it elsewhere, she's not the kind of woman who can stay with one man. That's not your failure. That's your warning. Have you ever been someone's backup plan without realizing it? At first, how did you find out? What did you do when you saw the pattern? Drop your story below. You might save another man from the same trap. The real danger with women who can't stay with one man is that they're often at their most intoxicating when they're least committed. You get hooked on the highs the way she looks at you when she's in the mood to adore you. The sudden text saying she misses you. The nights she clings to you like you're the only safe place in the world. Those moments feel so real that you ignore everything in between, the coldness, the disappearances, the way she always seems to have one hand on the door handle. You mistake the highs for proof that the lows are just a phase. That's the first thing you have to unlearn. Intermittent affection is not love. It's a reward system, whether she's aware of it or not. She's training you to accept less than consistency. She gives you warmth, then withdraws it, then gives it again, and the unpredictability keeps you hooked. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement. Casinos use it to keep people gambling. Manipulative partners use it to keep you chasing. And if you don't catch it early, you'll find yourself more addicted to the chase than to the woman herself. The moment you recognize that pattern, you have a choice. You either stay and accept the terms, or you disrupt the game completely. Disruption doesn't mean yelling, accusing, or demanding. It means refusing to play. When she goes cold, you don't chase warmth, you create it elsewhere in your life. You go to the gym, you meet your friends, you work on your projects, you replace her absence with your own abundance. That's how you train yourself out of dependency. Some men think the solution is to outplay her games to make her jealous back, to withdraw before she does, to keep her guessing. That works short term, but it's not a foundation for anything real. Because if you have to keep the relationship alive by manufacturing uncertainty, then you're just as unstable as she is. The real strength is in being so solid in yourself that her volatility can't knock you off balance. Here's the hard pill. A woman who can't stay with one man doesn't see relationships as a place to build. She sees them as a place to feel. And feelings fade. That's why she moves on. You could be the kindest, most loyal man she's ever met, and she'll still leave if she thinks the excitement is gone. You can't change that by loving her harder. You can only decide whether you want to be in a constant audition for her attention. I once knew a guy named Aaron who dated a woman like this for nearly 3 years. She'd disappear for a weekend without explanation, then show up at his door in tears, saying she just needed to clear her head. He'd let her in, hold her, tell her it was okay. Each time she came back, the reunion felt powerful, like they'd overcome something, but nothing had been fixed. The cycle just repeated. When he finally ended it, she accused him of giving up too soon, of not fighting for her. That's another trap, making you feel like walking away from dysfunction is a sign of weakness. It's not. It's the only real strength you have. If you want to protect yourself, here's your tactical checklist. Observe how she handles stability. If she gets restless when things are calm, take note. Watch her respect for your boundaries. If she constantly pushes them or tests them, she's telling you where she stands. Never ignore patterns. One off moment is human. A repeated sequence is reality. Most importantly, be willing to walk not to teach her a lesson, but to keep your self-respect intact. You'll be surprised how fast the dynamic changes when she knows you won't compete for her attention. Some women, when faced with a man who refuses to chase, will suddenly focus all their energy on keeping him. Others will let him go without a fight, which only proves he was never her priority. Either way, you get your answer without wasting years. So ask yourself, are you with a woman because she truly chooses you every day? Or because you're afraid to lose the version of her that existed in the beginning? Are you holding on to her, or to the memory of her? Have you ever realized too late that you were chasing the memory of a woman instead of the woman herself? What finally made you stop? How different do you think your life would be if you'd walked away sooner? At some point, you have to face the truth that a woman who can't stay with one man will eventually force you into a role you never wanted, the caretaker of her chaos. You'll find yourself making excuses for her mood swings, her sudden silences, her "I just need space" phases. You'll rationalize her pulling away as stress, work pressure, or past trauma. And while some of that might be true, the effect on you is the same. You're slowly being conditioned to accept uncertainty as normal. This conditioning is dangerous because it rewires your instincts. You stop reacting to distance with boundaries and start reacting with pursuit. She pulls away. You lean in. She withholds affection. You give more. You start to believe that love is measured by how much you can endure, rather than how mutually it's built. And this is exactly how you lose the frame, the subtle power balance that keeps attraction alive. The deeper cost isn't just emotional, it's psychological. Every time you invest more while she invests less, you're teaching yourself that your needs matter less than her comfort. Over time, this eats at your confidence. You stop thinking about what you want in a relationship because all your focus is on keeping her from leaving. That's when you wake up one day realizing you're not leading your life anymore, you're orbiting hers. If you want to break that cycle, you have to anchor yourself in something she can't touch, your own standards. This means deciding before you're emotionally entangled what you will and will not tolerate. If she starts pushing those limits early on, disappearing without explanation, disrespecting your time, keeping one foot in the attention market, you don't negotiate, you don't give warnings, you just move differently. That's how you protect both your dignity and your energy. One of the most effective tactics I've seen is what I call the silent audit. You don't confront her every time she slips, you just take mental notes and adjust your investment accordingly. If her actions start to show inconsistency, you pull back your availability, not as punishment, but as a recalibration. You let her feel the absence of your constant attention. The women who truly value you will notice and correct course. The ones who don't will drift, and that's your cue to let them go without regret. There's also the matter of testing stability before full commitment. Too many men rush to lock in exclusivity after a few passionate months, only to discover later that she's incapable of sustaining that intensity. You need to see how she behaves when the honeymoon phase wears off. Does she double down and build with you? Or does she start looking for the next high? The answer will tell you everything. And here's where a lot of men get trapped. They confuse a woman's temporary focus for permanent loyalty. Just because she's all about you now doesn't mean she'll be the same in 2 years. This is why your identity must stay separate from the relationship. You are not her man first. You are yourself first. Your mission, your discipline, your boundaries. These are the constants. She can join you on that path, but she can't become the path. I've seen men who mastered this never have to beg a woman to stay. Not because every woman stayed, but because the ones who left couldn't take their center with them. They might miss the attention, the comfort, the status, but they never got the satisfaction of seeing him crumble. And that's the point. Your strength isn't in keeping her, it's in staying whole when she's gone. So now you have to ask yourself, not whether she'll stay forever, but whether you're living in a way that makes her staying optional. Could you walk away tomorrow without losing yourself? Could you rebuild without hesitation? Could you look her in the eyes, knowing that if she chooses to leave, she's losing something rare and you're not losing yourself? That's the final layer of power, the ability to be chosen without needing to be. When you can hold that posture, no woman can use your fear of loss to keep you in her cycle. And if she's the kind who can't stay with one man, she'll learn quickly that her patterns don't work on you, and that's when she either steps up or steps out. So tell me, have you ever been with a woman who thrived on instability? How did it change you? And when you finally let go, what did you take back that you didn't realize you'd lost? She didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.